I got a question for you guys. Have you guys ever been in a fender bender, a car wreck of any sort, right? You guys know if you've been in any, even the minor car wrecks, you know there's a feeling you get right before it happens, right? You get this sense of fear that overtakes your body, right? And you go into like some sort of panic state, like the heart drops. Well, that feeling is watching LSU baseball. Welcome in, guys. This is LSU Recruiting HQ. I am your host, Michael, and we are talking about LSU baseball. They dropped the series this weekend to Mississippi State, and that so called feeling I am talking about was the feeling that I'm sure a lot of people had this weekend. It felt like every single time I watched LSU go out there and take the mound, that's the feeling I got, right? I was just waiting for something to bad happen, and boy, did it happen. We're breaking it all down right here. Make sure you guys, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. Give us a follow. Follow our socials. Do whatever we gotta do. We like to rage tweet during the games. I know you guys like some of that stuff. I don't like doing it. I'd much rather prefer to tweet positive things. But LSU's giving me a hard time doing that right now. So you lose the game Friday night, you win the game Saturday, you lose the game again on Sunday by run rule. We're going to break all three games down, kind of go over what LSU has to do to figure out the issues they got, man. They got a lot of them. But let's start by just a general basis. Before we go game by game, I kind of want to break things down. Like, going into this series, my biggest concern, I believe I tweeted out that the offense was my biggest concern. They had looked lackluster at times, very inconsistent throughout the whole year, right? And kind of figured that was going to be, if you lost this series, what was going to be the driving factor? It would have been, I would have said, you probably didn't get enough hits when you needed, right? The pitching been outstanding the entire year. So what we saw this weekend was such a shock to the entire fan base, and I'm sure it was a shock to Jay Johnson and the coaching staff as well, because these guys have pitched so good all year. It was just surprising how everything kind of coexisted there. You give up 16 hits on Friday. You give up 15 hits on Saturday. And then the game you got run ruled in, you only gave up 10 hits. So, the pitching just wasn't there, man. The pitching just, I mean, it was everybody. There was not one guy where I'm trying to think in my head now of one instance where I was like, that pitcher had a good weekend. But, I mean, it started with Luke Holman, man. Luke Holman wasn't on top of his game. He struggled. Gavin Guidry comes in. He struggled a little bit. You lose that game Friday night, and you're kind of thinking like, okay, we didn't pitch it very well. We went, you score those 3 runs early there in the third inning, and then you kind of go. You kind of go hitless and don't generate any offense for the rest of the game. So you kind of can blame the offense, and then the pitching kind of let you down there at the end in the 8th inning. They had that huge inning, but it was still a game at that point. It was 6-3, and then you have that big inning and the game's over, right? LSU scratches that cookie cutter run in the 9th. Game's over. You lose game 1, but you're coming in the game 2. Gage jump on the mound, been tremendous all year. This is a game where you're like, okay, LSU's going to bounce back. This is when you need. You got to keep playing. You got to win the series. It all starts with game 2, right? And they come out, and, man, they're killing it. They're killing it. They come out 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 4 in the third, 3 home runs. You have Tommy White continuing to be hot. He had a home run in game 1 and game 2. Now you have Jared Jones hitting absolute moonshots, right? You're feeling good, man. It is 9-1. It is 9-1. Gage jump is looking pretty good. He gives up a run, but for the most part, he looks really good. And then the 4th inning happens, right? LSU gets 4 there in the 3rd, shuts him down in the 3rd, comes out, doesn't score in the 4th. And then Mississippi State goes for 3 runs in the 4th. And that's where it changed, man, because they get Gage jump out of the game. It becomes a bullpen game, and their guys out of the bullpen were outstanding. Mississippi State's bullpen this weekend dominated LSU. There wasn't a guy that came out of their bullpen that didn't have success. It was a masterclass by Mississippi State pitchers this weekend. LSU did actually a really good job of getting the starters out of the game early. They just failed to get to the bullpen, man. I don't know what changed. I mean, if it was the looks that Mississippi State was given that was just giving them trouble, I really don't know what it was. But you find yourself here in game two, right? And Mississippi State's just continuing to claw back. It's 9-1, then it's 9-6, then it's 9-8, right? And then the last two innings you go scoreless. You keep them off the board, which is huge. Tommy White makes a tremendous play down the line, really saved the game for you there. I believe it was a first and third situation or a bases loaded situation. He makes the dive and play, or no, first and second. He makes the play, tags third, throws it to first, double play. You're out the inning. And then I lied. This is where I messed up, guys. Nate Ackenhausen comes in, shuts the door in the ninth inning. The cleanest inning LSU probably had all weekend. So that was good to see from your closer. You get the win there. And I think all LSU fans kind of took a sigh of relief. Like, you've gotten your ass beat the last two games, and you found a way to win one of them, right? So coming into Sunday, you're feeling good. You like the pitching matchup. You like Thatcher Hurd against their guy, who was really good again. The switch pitcher, LSU was able to get to him there in the fourth inning. But the problem here is you get off to such a bad start. Like, you have Thatcher Hurd out there, and he goes out there and he gives up 3 runs right off the bat, puts you in a deep hole that you were just never able to dig yourself out of. You get the tying. You tie. This was the theme of the weekend. Every time LSU in Game 3 did something positive, Mississippi State doubled that, right? They came back in the bottom half of the inning and just slammed the door on whatever momentum you had. And you made a mess of things here in Game 3. You get the 3 runs in the fifth to tie it up. Tommy White, or not Tommy White, I believe, who was that? Braswell hits the double, scores a run. You have the big inning there. You get 3, and then you proceed to give up 4 runs there in the bottom of the fifth. And at that point, you're not feeling great, right? But then you come back in the sixth, and this is when Tommy White hits the 2-run home run, right? And you're feeling pretty damn good. Like, it's 7-5 with 3 innings to play. And then your boy comes out and gives up 5 runs the next inning in the bottom of the sixth. And then you're like, what the hell just happened? And the game's over. Like, the game is completely over at this point. Like, you're not scoring the amount of runs, and you can't stop them from scoring. That's for damn sure. So at that point, you feel like it's over. And it was over because they run ruled you in the 8th inning, and you lost 15-5 in a rubber game where you desperately needed a win, and you couldn't even come close. And it don't get no easier, man. LSU baseball has the toughest schedule to start off conference play. Everybody slept on Mississippi State. I wasn't one of them. I knew Mississippi State was a better team than we've seen the last couple years. And then you're going to Duty Noble with a younger team. Like, it wasn't the most ideal start for LSU. I could see where this series could jump up and bite them. And I think that's what happened. I'm really hoping that's what happened, right? Because if they don't lock it in now, it's going to get bad. Because you got Florida coming in, all right? Then you got Arkansas. Then you got Tennessee. Then you got Vanderbilt. And you have the potential here to get your ass whooped 5 straight series to start the year. If I see what I saw this weekend, pitching wise and defensive wise, you're gonna get your tails beat by all 4 of those teams. And you'll be lucky to take one of those games from them, let alone 2. So LSU got to fix it. I got full faith in Jay Johnson that he's going to get them guys together and he's going to lock it in, and they're going to play a lot better at home, and they're going to play up to the moment because you got some of the best teams in the country coming up. And I hope to God that this was just a one-off, right? This was the eye-opening moment for LSU baseball. Like, we have a lot of young guys who have played last year, but they didn't play meaningful reps, if that makes any sense. Like, you had guys that played a lot of reps last year, got a lot of at-bats, but when it's crunch time and that team's putting pressure on you and you're in a hostile environment, man, it's different. It's just different. Everybody knows it's different. And then you go with the pitching staff not performing. That can't happen, right? You're going to have to pitch better. If you want to win baseball games in this league with what you have, you're going to have to pitch better. That is inexcusable. The defense is inexcusable. You played terrible the entire weekend, pitching and defensive wise. The hitting actually wasn't bad. You know, they had their moments where they looked like, you know what, all right? But for the most part, they did their job, right? They kept you in ball games. They made runs. The pitching just shit the bed every single time the offense got anything going on for LSU. They'd give it right back to Mississippi State. And I'm telling you guys now, all right, hear me when I say this, all right? This baseball team is only going to go as far as that pitching staff goes. If that pitching staff doesn't perform like they performed in the non-conference, LSU is not hosting a super regional, and they'll be a borderline regional team. All right, we're talking about a team that could finish 5th or 6th in the West if that pitching staff doesn't pitch better. All right, you're counting on guys like Luke Holman and Gage Jump and Thatcher Hurd to go out there and be studs. All right, because I'm telling you guys this offense isn't going to go out there and score 15 runs a game and go win you games by slugging the baseball around. All right, you already seen it this weekend. They're pitching around Tommy White. They're pitching around guys that can hit, all right, and they're feeding off of the bottom half of this lineup and guys that struggle with certain things. All right, and it's putting you in a tough spot to where you have to pitch well. All right, and you're going to have to pitch well because LSU's offense is going to go through lulls. All right, it's only going to get harder because the competition is only going to get better. All right, so I don't expect LSU offense to pick it up and start being that team that's going to score 10 to 15 runs a game. All right. So the only thing that's got to change is that pitching staff. That pitching staff has to bail out this offense to start this year, and they have to start pitching like they want to pitch. And what we saw in the non-conference has to become the norm. That can't, like, the Mississippi State series is over. We're done and over. We're done talking about it after today. All right. But for LSU to be successful this year, they're going to lean on pitching and defense. Like, that's the only way they're going to win baseball games this year. I'm telling you guys now, you mark my words, the offense isn't what it was last year, and nobody is expecting it to be what it was last year. The thing is that this pitching staff was built up and reconstructed in a way to make it elite. Not good, elite, like one of the best staffs in the country. And LSU just flat out didn't pitch good. All right. So hopefully Nate Yeski, Jay Johnson can talk with those guys and they can figure something out. I got full confidence we're going to see a tremendous performance this weekend. Whether LSU wins the series or not, they're going to play better than they did this past weekend. I'm full faith that that's going to happen. Right. The real question is, how good is Florida, and are you going to be able to win close games? That's the SEC, man. Like, you're going to have to pull out some of these one-run ball games that look bad. They're going to look ugly at times. Like, Florida's pitching staff's pretty damn good. They haven't shown that they're very good yet, but they have a lot of talent there. Tennessee has a lot of pitching talent. Arkansas has the best pitcher in the country probably in Hagen Smith. You have Vanderbilt, who always has studs every single year going in the draft in the first round. So it's not getting any easier for the offense. The LSU pitching staff has to pick it up. That's all I got for you guys today, man. That was a heck of a rant. Hopefully we don't have another one like this next week. LSU Baseball takes on La Tech tomorrow night at Alex Box Stadium. Make sure, if you guys aren't already, man, subscribe to the channel, bro. Do what you got to do. It's completely free. All it does is help us out. We got NIT coming up. We got LSU recruiting coming up. 2025 is hot than ever. 2026 rankings just came out, and Louisiana's absolutely loaded again. Your guys aren't going to want to miss that kind of stuff, and there's only one place to get it, and it's right here at LSU Recruiting HQ. So have a great rest of your week. If I don't talk to you guys again, hit me up next time, bro. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Do what you got to do. All right, man. Have a good day.